Here's a preview of what you'll hear on this episode of Beyond the Wheel.
For us, it starts with, you put a quality product on the market and then you stand behind it. Our customer service is bar none the best in the industry, if not globally. We set the standard for that. And people know you buy a Weber, you're going to get a great quality grill that we stand behind, and the customer service is going to be there. And word of mouth with how that travels is, for us, it's exponential. I mean, we rely on it and we pride ourselves on it. And it's helped us create such a great customer base, but also fans. Like, we were talking a little bit ago about collecting Webers. We have people that are like that. We have them all over the world that can collect vintage colors and all the different colors we produced and all over the place. And for us, that's the fun part.
Now enjoy the show.
You are listening to Beyond the Wheel, a podcast about the people and ideas that drive the RV community forward.
This episode is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, the best name in the RV and marine industry. These lithium batteries are designed and assembled in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. The best solution for your battery anxiety, so go check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.
Whether your adventure is on the road, on the water, or off the grid, Battleborn batteries keep you out there longer.
Hey everyone, Kenny here. Do you travel with pets and are looking for a way to monitor and be alerted of temperature spikes in your RV while away? I've been using a temp stick in our RV for over 3 years, and I love the simplicity of being able to connect to any of our hotspots, as well as not having the hassle of any subscription or service fees. If you are looking for a reliable way to protect your pets while away, check out TempStick at tempstick.com. Hey everyone, I have always felt the outdoors and grilling go hand in hand, and today we are excited to welcome Dustin Green from Weber Grills onto the show. Dustin is a Culinary Weber Grill Master and director of their Grill Academy. Dustin is involved with several aspects of the Weber company, including marketing, R&D, product testing, and more. We are truly thankful for his time today as he shares the long history of Weber Grills and brings us up to the present with the new Weber Traveler Grill. It's designed for people like us who like to take grilling onto the road. Dustin also shares a lot of great grilling tips throughout the interview and shares ways for you to instantly improve your grilling game. So let's get this episode started.
Hi, Dustin. Welcome to the show. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Weber?
First off, thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. My name is Dustin Green. I am the Culinary Grill Master for Weber Grill. I'm also the director of our Grill Academy and Barbecue Experience team. I manage a cross-functional team that we touch almost every aspect of the Weber business. We work with marketing and sales on different product launches. We head out to trade shows and we do demos. We do large-scale stage presentations. We work with product management on the development on the front end of projects, from conception into design, and then even the product testing of them. And then with R&D on the same end and looking at competitors' products and certain pain points. And then, how do we look at it from a Weber point of view so that our fans and our users get that all around incredible grilling experience and from day in and day out with consistency. So my background's a chef. I was, a chef by trade for about 20-ish years. Worked in various restaurants, from American style steakhouses, Indian restaurants, Asian with sushi and robata style cooking, anywhere from casual themed places to fine dining, breweries. I kind of run the gamut. I mean, it talk about trying to be well-rounded, and I ended up back in American style steakhouses because that's where my passion was in grilling. It just naturally was.
I'm curious, Dustin, how did you get set up with Weber? Did they seek you out? Was Weber a company that maybe you always kept an eye on? How did that happen?
For me, I was fortunate. And before I came to our retail side of the business, I was our senior executive chef of our Weber Grill restaurants here in Chicago. Weber's local to Chicago. We were founded here in Chicago. The Stephen family's from Chicago. I did a little traveling when I was younger, in different couple other markets. I went to school in other places, and I naturally came home to be closer to my family. But like I said, I was fortunate to be around Weber at the right time when, being in the restaurants, and an opportunity presented itself to come over to the retail side of the business and take my skills of what I was doing it there and bring them here to a larger scale. It just ran with it from there.
I just learned two things just from that alone that I did not know. One, that Weber has restaurants, and two, that they started in Chicago. I didn't know either one of those facts.
Weber started, both, we can start with the restaurants, and, we've had restaurants for quite a few years. Right now, our locations are locations here in Chicago, a couple are suburbs. We're downtown in the city, and then we're into Indianapolis. But we've had restaurants for 25, 28 years, that date back. So it's great. The family still owns them. It's a separate entity to our grill company, but we still do work with them, collaborate with them on different projects, and, just try to instill that Weber experience on a different level. But, George too, I'm sitting in Palatine, Illinois right now. George's family, they were in Arlington Heights, which isn't too far from here. George was working downtown Chicago, what was called Weber Brothers Metal Works. And they fabricated buoys for Lake Michigan. So like all the, we know how much trading happened on the Great Lakes back in the day with all those ships. And the buoys were out there to help people, help these guys navigate their ways through, the channels or around the lakes. And George was an avid griller. He has a large family. There's a lot of sons and daughters that he had. Most of them still live in the area here. But grilling in the 50s wasn't even close, guys, to what we do today. I'm actually looking outside my office right now at George's original grill that was on his family's property. But it's a brick facade with like a brick almost like table-like, but it was an open top brazier, like just with a grate in the middle of this with this brick backstop to it. There was no way to control your fire. So what George did back in the day, he took that buoy, tried to light a fire in it, fire went out. Tried it again, fire went out. Well, eventually came to fruition like, hey, George, you got to poke holes in that thing. So we popped some holes in this grill. We started with our airflow and boom, the kettle kind of took off. So, that was 1952 was when George's original kettle was released, and it changed shape to what we see today in about 1956. It's still virtually the same, the three-leggeds. The handles went from the metal bull handles to a wood handle, and then today we have what we have. So, it's transitioned over the years, but what you see, that iconic kettle of, our emblem, that's from back in the day. It's the same.
That was actually one of my questions is what did Weber start with? I didn't realize that kettle grill was the original, but you guys have expanded now into like several different styles of grilling. I didn't know the year either. So you've been around for a long time. I know for me growing up, I grew up in Philadelphia, so not too far from Chicago, and Weber in Philadelphia is like a very popular, Weber's probably popular everywhere, but Weber in Philadelphia was very popular for grillers. And anybody that was serious about grilling, any of my friends anyway that were serious about grilling, always owned a Weber. And I never did, I'm sorry to say, at the time. But when I got into RVing and started going to campsites, my wife and I stay at a lot of KOA campgrounds. And every KOA, if you stay at one of their premium sites, you get a Weber grill. And from traveling across the country, my wife and I full-time in our RV for over 4 years, traveling across the country and going to all these different KOAs using these Weber grills. It's always been the Weber Spirit 2, and every one of them was consistently good. Like we never had a bad experience with a Weber grill while traveling all across the country. So that really caught our attention, that they were all quality, no matter what state we were in, what campground we were in. So when we bought our house, we bought just recently a Weber Spirit 2. And I wonder, do you think the success of Weber is based on that? Somebody trying it, somebody's friend having one, they get to try it, they see how great it is. Do you think it's a lot of word of mouth is what has created Weber to be such a success?
It absolutely has. And word of mouth marketing is, it's invaluable from our standpoint. But for us, it starts with, you put a quality product on the market and then you stand behind it. Our customer service is bar none the best in the industry, if not globally. We set the standard for that. And people know you buy a Weber, you're going to get a great quality grill that we stand behind, and the customer service is going to be there. And word of mouth with how that travels is, for us, it's exponential. I mean, we rely on it and we pride ourselves on it. And it's helped us create such a great customer base, but also fans. Like, we were talking a little bit ago about collecting Webers. We have people that are like that. We have them all over the world that can collect vintage colors and all the different colors we produced and all over the place. And for us, that's the fun part.
I remember growing up in the 70s and 80s, my father always had, I think it was a black Weber kettle grill. Does Weber still make the kettle style grills?
We do, and we've made that kettle grill. And what the only difference that you would see from the 70s and the 80s, because I'm the same, my dad had the same grill, is we changed the bull handles on it. So back in the late 70s, I think 1980 was the last year we did it, but our handles were actually made out of metal. They were a little warm. So, you'd have a glove on and you move the grill around, or, that kind of stuff. And it transitioned away from that. But we're the same exact shape as we were in the late 70s, early 80s. I actually have a 1980 kettle, because, not to show my age, but that was the exact year I was born. So I was like, I need to have one of those, just to have, because that's a thing with collectors. It's called a birth year kettle.
Oh, okay.
That kind of walks me right into a question. So that change going away, I guess, from those metal handles, was that something that Weber pays attention to from customer? Are they basing changes off customer feedback? Is that something that Weber does?
It is absolutely something we do. And we get it on the front end of sometimes a conceptualization of product, but also throughout the testing of products, and even on the back end when we look at what's out in the marketplace. As smart as we think we are, and as smart as people think you are, sometimes you might overlook something, and people are going to help you out. And, that's the great part about our fans, is they're always willing to, to help us out and say, hey, did you guys think of this? Or did you think of that? And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but, we definitely always listen and hear what people have to say.
I also want to give you guys some kudos too. The grill that I bought, the Spirit 2, I put together myself. And I was a little nervous when I first opened the box and I saw the pieces. I was like, I think I got this though. I think I got this. And you guys offer, I don't know if it's your app in particular, but there was a little note in the box that said download the BILT app.
Yep.
And it was an app that I was able to put on my phone and showed me step by step. And I have to say that the actual building of the grill was super easy. I don't know if that was based on feedback that maybe of other people building the grills and putting them together themselves, but I'm glad I didn't pay somebody else to do it. I'm glad I was able to do it on myself. So I'm just letting you guys know that Built app was a great help.
No, we love that. I mean, even for me, when I've built a lot of grills, but it helps you understand your grill, right? If you got to look at the different parts and the pieces, or say in 10 years, if you got to replace your flavorizer bars, or if you're ever looking to make updates to it, you know the exact parts because you built it and you saw everything that goes into it.
Yeah, and the app is cool, Sean. I should have told you about it too. But it's like 3-dimensional. You can spin parts around and look at them from different angles to make sure that you actually have the right part in your hand that you're putting together. It's nicely done.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's cool.
So on today's episode, we really wanted to focus on the grills for RVers because we're an RV focused podcast. But I guess the Weber Traveler's Grill is this a new grill? Has it been around for a long time? What's the history on that?
It is a new grill, and we released it in the spring of 2021, and it's a portable gas grill. We created it for people to be able to use it on the go, whether you're on your RV or if you're camping or tailgating or different experiences where you're going to be on the move. So we looked at it from an end of what do people want in a grill like that? And we looked at it as portability. With this grill, it's got a one-handed setup and lockdown, and it's got an automatic lid lock on it, and some great wheels to be able to get it to where you want to be able to get it with ease. And that's the biggest part about it. It's portability and ease.
So once you put it together, Dustin, does it all stay together, or do you build it per location? Like if you were to pack it up, put it in your RV, take it out at your next site, do you have to build it all again, or is it all one piece?
It is all one piece, and the grill itself is built into a cart. When we say easy one-handed setup and close, is the grill's sitting on the ground, and I wish I had one here to show you guys. I pull it up and it pulls up and it stands straight up, and literally with one hand, and it locks right in. So then you're ready to go. You can either put a 1-pound gas tank, the green bottle propane tanks, screws right in underneath the table. We do also make it available if you want to, if you have a 20-pound propane tank, we do have an adapter hose that can run to a 20-pound. And then you cook on it. And when you're done, you take out your grease tray, the aluminum grease tray. You take that out, you unscrew the bottle. There's a little red handle underneath the same side that you lifted it on. You squeeze it towards you, and the grill does a slow close. It has like a pneumatic leg system in it where it just slowly drops itself down. And then that lid lock pops up and it holds that lid down. So if you're driving, you put it back in your RV and you're looking to go, you don't have to worry about it flapping around. It holds the grates down. It holds the lid down. And then when you get to your next place, you wheel it right out, you one-handed, pull it back up, you put your grease tray back in, and you're ready to cook. I mean, it's
Nice.
It's really like just a snap and go. I mean, it's such a quick, easy thing.
I like that it's on its own stand compared to like maybe a tabletop or something like that you're relying on something being at the campsite for you to use. It's nice that it has its own legs and that you can just stand it right up. I like too that you said that it has a slow close, because that sounds like it would actually save fingers. I always picture like maybe getting a finger caught, but if it's got a nice slow close to it, that's awesome. That's a nice design.
It is
super.
Yeah, and it has space on it. I mean, we made it so that it's a little bit larger cooking space than most other grills. We can get about 20 burgers on, and 20, like 15 burgers, I think you can get on there, about 20 sausages. It's a versatile grill. I mean, when we looked at it and what do people want in grilling? Well, we tried to run the gamut of, what are people going to cook? Well, you can get your low temperatures and you can get all the way up to your high heat searing temperatures. So the versatility of foods you can cook on it are numerous. I mean, it's crazy what it can do.
Yeah, that was another thing we noticed, was that it has a temperature gauge on it. And we don't see that in a lot of traveling size grills. So that was a good addition. I was wondering, is that based on feedback from customers, or was that something you guys just felt like you needed to add?
Well, as we, talk with consumers and we look at grilling and kind of where it's been to where it's going, is knowing inside cavity temperature, whether you're a grade or the ambient temperature, plays a large role in how people cook. It's what we've learned. So by giving people that ability to know at least what's going on in that box from a temperature standpoint, it helps them with that. What are they going to cook and how are they going to cook it? And that's the biggest part about it. And, we can tell you from experiences, we know we base temperature that you cook food at by thickness. The thicker something is, kind of the lower temperature you're going to cook it at. Just for reference, like a 1.5 inch steak, I know that we want to cook at 525 degrees. You go thinner, the temperature goes up. You go thicker, the temperature goes down. So by giving people the ability to know what's going on in there, it's going to help them to know, how to cook it with an end goal that they're going to have a good experience and have some really great food.
Is that so that the outside doesn't cook too fast where it burns?
Correct. It's okay. Yeah, it's having that happy medium of getting great caramelization color and beautiful color on the outside and having to be able to get to the doneness that you want in the middle without having one be too high and the other being too low. So it's like that happy medium.
Learning something else right there, because I didn't know that. But once you said it made sense, I was like, oh yeah, I bet you that's so you don't burn the outside before the inside's cooked.
A lot of people think, you have to cook as high as the heavens and you got to cook with your lid open. And there's all these, different things that are out there. And we're going to tell you is you keep the lid down, you let the grill what it's going to do. You got a single flip. You cook it by the temperature that, ideally is set for by that thickness, which it's on our website, Weber.com. It's got all this great information for people to use. And as you cook and the more you cook, you kind of learn, and you don't have to really utilize that stuff anymore. You just go, oh yeah, guess what? This is like this. I'm going to cook it at X and for this amount of time.
I am guilty of multiple flips. I just heard you say single flip. I'm like, I don't think I've ever done a single flip on anything I've ever made in my life.
You might be cooking too hot then, but if you're going to keep flipping it, but yeah.
Okay. That is good. These are good tips right away. Because it is so portable and it folds down, it keeps in one piece. Do you know offhand about how heavy it is for somebody that's going to pick it up and maybe put it in the back of their pickup truck or put it in a storage compartment of their RV?
I want to say it's about 45-ish pounds, about 40 to 45 pounds. It might be a little bit heavier. It's enough to where like I can pick it up myself and drop it in. We did build into the cart itself where there's a handle on the front end for when I'm moving it on the wheels. Well, if I go to pick that up, we've made it so that handle tips up. So there's actually two handles on it. There's one on one side of the cart that's metal that's built into it. And then there's one on the other side that flips up. So it gives you two places to pick this up and to put it in and out as you're gonna go.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Because I was thinking when you said the weight, I have a folding electric bike with a battery. It's almost 60 pounds. And I picked that up and put it in the back of my RV. It has no handles on it.
Yeah.
And it is very cumbersome, but I can do it. So I would imagine this sounds pretty easy, actually.
Yeah.
That's great.
I've seen a lot in the past at RV campgrounds, the Q200 grill and the Go Anywhere gas grill. Are these also still available options for RV travelers?
I think they are, and we look at the Q200 and it's got a little bit higher lid. So you can probably get a little bit different foods in there versus a Traveler with a little bit different size cooking zone, depending on how you set it up in that height. It's more for less for different foods. And the same for the Go Anywhere. I mean, we're looking at the rectangular shape. It's got the gas bottle on it. It really just depends on, I mean, you guys probably know best. Well, how much space do you have for storage? What are you going to cook on it? And how many people are you cooking for? I mean, a lot of that comes down to what are you going to buy?
Yeah, that's a good point there too. Just how many people are you cooking for? I know for Sabrina and I, it's usually just my wife and I, but every once in a while we'll have, I guess you could call guests, over where we're cooking, maybe for 4 of us. I think that's about as big of a party as we typically get. But then we have friends that do a lot of boondocking where they go out in the middle of nowhere and they meet up with like 6 other RVers, and then they're cooking they're having like a 4th of July weekend party almost every weekend with their friends. So yeah, I think that's a good point. It's just how many people are you cooking for and how often that way.
Yeah.
Now I have a question though that just I've been thinking about this since we set up this interview. Most of the grills that are available for us that travel a lot are gas grills. What do you think the difference is, or what should people be thinking about if they, like as far as cooking using charcoal or cooking using gas? Are there major differences in that?
It's honestly, it's personal preference. We get asked that a lot. People go, are you a gas or a charcoal person? And I go, I'm both. I'm even an electric person. We have an electric pulse that we sell now. That's an incredible grill, and it's compact and portable. In our charcoal line, we have our Smoky Joe. We have our Jumbo Joe, which is an 18-inch portable charcoal grill. We also do, you mentioned, we talked about the gas Go Anywhere. Well, we have a charcoal version of that as well. It really comes down to personal preference and what do you want to, which one do you like better? Like I said, I'm both. I'll cook gas if I'm out of charcoal, and vice versa. If I run out of charcoal, I'll cook gas. It just depends on what I have on hand.
So it doesn't change the flavor of the food much cooking on either one.
It doesn't. It comes down to the design on the grills. And if you're tasting charcoal on your food, you didn't get the charcoal ready to be cooked on, meaning it's not ashed over. If you're seeing smoke coming off of charcoal, you got to go a little bit longer with it. And what happens with the food is the drippings that come off that meat, whether it's gas or charcoal, and they hit the charcoal, it creates that aroma that goes onto your food. And then in the gas grill, it's the flavorizer bars with like the Traveler that we're talking about. We built that technology into the grate. So you're getting those juices. They hit that bar, the aromas stir around your cook box, and they adhere to your food, and that's what you get. So you really, like I said, if you're tasting charcoal, you really didn't get it ready to be cooked on in the first place. So it's not a good thing. You definitely don't want that.
So for me, I always, and this might not be true or what, but like Dustin is saying, personal preference, I prefer gas because I've always felt like the gas is easier to clean up. Like I just used my grill yesterday on Labor Day. It's propane, it's the Spirit 2. And, I made my burgers and sides and everything right there. And then I just wipe it down and it's all done. There's no charcoal for me to throw away. That to me anyway, like I can see that being a personal preference. To somebody else, maybe that doesn't matter to them. I don't know.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, you're right. Cause with your charcoal, you shut down your vents, you let the fire go out. And then you're right. You have to do something with the ash after that. So then you're trying to find a metal bin that's, approved for, if you're on the road, if you're in a campground, they're probably guessing they have the bins, for you to put your charcoal into, because they don't want you to just go, hey, here you go, side of the road. But, it's just, they're both convenient. They both work.
Yeah, it's probably easier, like when you say convenience wise, it's probably easier to have the charcoal than to carry maybe a 20-pound propane tank. Spare, like for me, I have a Class A gas, and our RV has a fixed propane tank. So for me to use a gas grill, if I'm not staying at a KOA, I actually don't carry a grill with me when I'm camping. But for me to bring a propane grill, then I also have to bring bottles with me. Yeah. So a 20-pound propane bottle takes up a lot of space. So I believe it does come down to like personal preference, like you're saying. Yeah. Can we go back to that Traveler for one more second? The Traveler, I know you said it was all one piece. Is there an option if you wanted to turn it into a tabletop? maybe I'm not sure why this would be, but could you take it off the legs and the wheels and set it on a table if you wanted to?
No, the way it's built is it's built into that cart. It has a nice little prep table off to the right of it. I mean, it's kind of all encompassing. Everything's there for you. Be able to set your food on. There's, utensil hooks be able to put your stuff on, and then the cook space, which is, just next to that table. But no, it is one piece all included in the cart.
Okay. I guess the idea is to avoid having to use a table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's there. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if maybe somebody just liked the size of it. Maybe it's a color thing. I don't know. And they wanted to turn it into a tabletop, and they wanted to throw it in their RV or something like that. And they didn't want to bring the legs. I don't know. I was just spitballing.
You know what though? It's great though, as we're talking and you ask, how we listen to feedback. It's the same thing. We're talking about this. I can go talk to our folks in product management and say, hey, what do you guys think of this? And, see if it's got legs, and maybe, it does.
So speaking of that, how much R&D goes into a grill before it's released?
A good amount. We have a lot of different projects that we R&D, and we have stuff that's new, that's conceptualized products that we're trying to take from fruition to market. We have other projects that, we're looking to use current innovation technology to make things that we currently have and maybe take them to the next level. But for us, our process it's probably about, 12 to 18 different months or so. Sometimes on the front end, it's listening to consumer panels. Sometimes it's just people sitting in a room, putting pen to paper and putting thoughts. But, it's conception, design. We have alpha testing, which is really front end user testing of a small group of people within Weber that'll try something. We get to a beta testing, and then we'll even get to a little bit larger of a market study after that. But, when it's all said and done, it's a decent process to make sure that we can hit the market with something that's really gonna help people and they're gonna enjoy and love.
I think that sounds like a decent amount of time. I'm always surprised by how long R&D takes to get something to the market. And I would imagine it feels probably even longer for the company, because you probably get excited about something new, like this Travelers, and you want to get it out, you want to show the public, but you're like going through like over a year of testing before you can even show somebody. That's got to be a little frustrating, but it seems well worth it. Like when you're talking about this Travelers, it seems very well thought out, and it's got some really nice features in it. So that's, it in the long run, it's worth it. I'm sure
it is, and it's all about patience. Honestly, with the patience, it always starts with the customer and it ends with the customer. So we just want it to be right. The worst thing that you can do is have this idea and it looks great, and then you think about it and it's could be a little bit better.
I had asked you about like the weight, and then I told you, propane wise, I find it to be a little cleaner, a little easier for me to use. Do you guys take that stuff in consideration when designing new grills? Like, does weight play a factor? Does ease of cleaning play into a factor? Maybe assembly, do all those things? I guess they would, right?
They definitely do. And what we know from talking with people and listening to feedback is maintenance and upkeep on grills is a huge part for people that there's some opportunity, and everybody wants a self-cleaning this and they want it to be easy. Well, if the more we can make that process better and easier for people to do, the better the experience is going to be, because maintaining your grill it's a huge, part of the grill functioning up to being optimum and being able to create great food that comes off of it. It's definitely plays a role.
What are some of the preventive maintenance things that you want to take care of on a grill to keep it performing well and keeping the flavor as good as it can be?
I look at it honestly twofold. There's regular maintenance that I do for each cook, and then there's kind of like seasonal maintenance that you do that you don't have to do it all the time, but you want to do it depending on how much you use your grill with a decent amount of regularity, so that you don't get a lot of buildup and stuff. For me, it's about process, and the regular maintenance is really just kind of keeping the grates clean, keeping the cook box clean, maybe hitting the flavorizer bars. If we talk about the Traveler, it's you fire that grill up, preheat it on high, 10 to 15 minutes, let those grates burn off, and then I'm going to hit them with a brush and keep them clean. Depending on how much I use that grill, I might take those grates out. I might scrape the inside of that box with some regularity, to make sure I can kind of get everything out of there. One of the biggest things that people forget about is changing out their drip trays. In the bottom of our grills, we call it a grease management system. And, those are all the drippings that naturally come off of food when you cook. So you you want to make sure you change out. We've made it pretty easy. We put a disposable aluminum tray in the bottom of there. You take it out, you throw it away, you drop a new one in, and you keep doing what you're going to do, you know? So those are just kind of like everyday stuff that I do just to make sure that the grill is running on, you know, just a regular great performance.
You had mentioned like keeping those grates clean. Do you recommend that they need to be swapped out within, I don't know, a year, 10 years, 5 years? Is that something commonly done?
You know what? It depends on how much you use your grill. And the more you use your grill, the more wear and tear you're going to see on those grates. If you scrape them off every time you use them, you're going to get a good amount of time on them in it. And I can't give you an exact time because like there's different, you know, people cook differently on them. People cook more often than others on them. But what I can say is if you maintain them, you're going to get a long time out of them. You just will. They're made of a great material and they last a long time.
Sounds good. And I like that you mentioned that little drip tray. I have that in my Spirit too. So you're saying, is that drip tray also in the Travelers? Do you have a drip tray inside that Travelers that collects that?
It is. And right on the bottom of the unit, and you'll see there's an opening on a Traveler that's about 6 inches by about 3 or 4. And it's got this little slide out. You pull it out, you pull your tray out, drop a new one in and slide it right in and you're done. I mean, honestly, it takes about 5 seconds. Yep. And we tried to make it that way. And it promotes people of, let's be honest, people forget about it sometimes, but the worst thing you can do is make a mess by not changing that thing out. So it just makes sense.
Yeah, I like that you can change it out because it is so portable. I would imagine that you wouldn't, if you have your drip tray in there, like it's nice that you guys can just pull it out and then pack it away and start traveling with it. You definitely wouldn't want to leave it in there and start traveling. So that's awesome that you guys put that in the Traveler version as well.
Yeah, we really tried to put some thought in. Like I said, for the Traveler to break it down and go, it was take the gas bottle out, take the drip tray out, slow close, and you're on your way. You know, takes about 30 seconds total.
What type of warranty comes with that Traveler grill?
The cook box itself, so like the outside, the porcelain enameled, like if you talk about our grills, we were talking about the black one, that's porcelain enameled. So it's metal that has a finish onto the outside of it. That's 5 years. So what that is no rust through, no burn through, guaranteed for 5. The lid assembly, the same thing. Has 5 years on it. The grates are 3, and then every other part that's on there, the cart itself has 2.
Yeah, that's a great warranty. I think that sounds awesome.
You maintain your grill and you don't have to worry about that warranty. It's going to last a heck of a lot longer than that. And, you know, I have grills in my yard that are, 30, 40 years old that are still kicking. You know, it's just about maintaining them and taking care of them.
Yeah, I often feel like warranties are set up for people that are maybe not that careful with their equipment. So I think the fact that you guys are doing like a 5-year and you kind of have that, you probably have that kind of mindset in there that, somebody that's kind of rough is still going to get 5 years out. I think that's great. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Where is the best place for somebody to buy a grill? Like when you go out to buy a grill, Dustin, do you like to see it in person? Do you want to go to a store and see it in person? Or are you somebody that buys it online?
I like to see it in person. I always recommend, it depends. We have some great retailers. We have great partners that are out there that sell, Weber all over the country, all over the world. You can go to Weber.com. That's the same. If you are that person that doesn't need to see the grill, if you want to look at the specifications, the warranty, we have all our, beautiful pictures on there to give you walk arounds, all that kind of stuff. But like I said, we have a lot of great retailers out there that support us, that you walk into some of these places and they have, you name it, they have every grill imaginable from Weber that's on that market, and you're able to touch, take a look and feel and, see which one's for you.
And then also, I guess you guys, you do events around the country where people can come and actually see it in action. Is that mostly at like home shows and things like that? Is that where you guys do a lot of your demos?
We do demos at retailers around the country. I know a good partner of ours, a great partner, Ace Hardware. You'll see a bunch of our folks out there at Ace working with them, our friends at True Value as well. Even the big Depot and Lowe's as well. We had a smoke fire tour this summer where we drove around the country with some big build outs, and we taught people about our smoke fire grill and gave them an opportunity to be hands-on with it and check it out. But we definitely get out to see some folks. And I know moving forward in the future, you'll start to see us do more stuff like that and be part of some of the home shows and that kind of stuff.
Do you guys have any plans of taking the Traveler grill to say like the Hershey show in Pennsylvania? It's the nation's largest RV show, or maybe the Tampa show in January. those are two like huge RV shows. Do you know if you have any plans of taking the Traveler to them?
I could tell you currently we do not, but that's not to say that as I'm writing this down so I can look, to follow up.
Okay.
Obviously, we are really this year looking to get more involved with shows, and we're looking at some barbecue type facing events and that kind of stuff. And we are looking at definitely at food events, outdoor shows, and some of them around the country. It's just a matter of how do we build that and which ones can we get to and to be able to support. But it's definitely worth a look. I definitely wrote those two down, and we'll take a look to see what we can do.
Okay.
So as a grill master, that sounds like such a tough title to earn, kind of like being knighted in England. What are, some quick tips that you have that could instantly improve someone's grilling success?
The first one, which is probably the one of the biggest, is patience. Whether you're trying to cook something or you're learning how to cook something, is don't expect to hit it the first time. You don't practice on your guests, you practice on your family, and then you roll it out to people outside of that. It's about patience and just trying to learn. Something we talk about here and with being with the Grill Academy and doing a lot of, other events is it's process. When you think about grilling and it's awesome, it's fun, and you can do it all over the world in different climates and this, but when you set your process up, and it's when I'm talking about that, it's like, how are you seasoning your meat? How are you setting up your grill? How long are you grilling it for? Are you resting your food? Even to how are you slicing it? You have to think about all those different aspects of grilling, of what do you want your end goal to be, which is honestly, it's awesome food, right? You want to have the best food possible. Mm-hmm. When you're working through that, we only change one thing at a time, because if something goes sideways, then you can pinpoint it. Like if I'm going through my process and I change something on the front end, I change something in the middle, and then something at the end, I don't have a clue where it went wrong because I changed three things. That's probably my biggest is talking through, is just changing one thing at a time.
I always hear people talk about, like on cooking shows and stuff, letting the meats rest after you've cooked them. Mm-hmm. What about things like vegetables? Do you let those rest too?
I do a little bit, but not as much as meats. The biggest thing is what we know. When you take food off the grill, it's still going to cook. Meat has a longer carryover than, say, vegetables will because of its composition, okay. But you still have to allow for it. And think about asparagus, just a vegetable in general, and you oil it, you salt, pepper it, you throw it on your grill direct. When you take it off, it's still going to kind of cook a little bit. Knowing that it's still going to cook, the biggest thing you want to do is just allow the air to circulate, to escape. So what we tell people is you want to loosely cover it with foil. You want to trap some of that heat, but you don't want to trap all of it, because what happens then is you create an oven type environment, and it's going to keep cooking a lot longer than you want it to. And it'll overcook. It'll turn mushy on you in a snap of the fingers.
Asparagus is one of my faves, actually, for sides.
Yeah.
And I don't like it when it's mushy. I do like it to have a little bit of that crisp to it. Yeah.
I give it the shake test. You take it off the grill and you shake it. If it's got a little bit of a wobble to it, I take it off and I'm good. If it keels over, I went too far.
Too far. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea though. Yeah, that's cool. What about something that you maybe commonly see that people do wrong, that if they would just stop doing that, it would help them out a little bit when it comes to time to grill?
I think of two things. One of them is leaving the lid up on your grill. What that does is it doesn't allow that convection heat, which is the natural current from the burners, to circulate. And then all you're really doing is cooking it from the outside. You're not allowing that heat to really reverberate around your cook box and push energy to the middle of your food to cook. You're hitting it just from the outside, and you're worrying just about that conductive heat coming off the grates. And it adds cook time. So you're not going to be able to get that middle as cooked as you want without getting, say, you get just a lot of color on the outside of your food. So you close the lid, you allow the heat to circulate, that convection heat, and you're going to have an all-around better experience, because your food on the outside is not going to be overcooked, and on the inside, it should be the temperature you want it to be.
Yeah, I think that goes back to patience, right? I mean, we all feel like we should be doing something. I want to flip it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to,
Yeah.
So that I want to move it to the other side of the grill.
Well, and you say that though, you want to see it, and it makes me think, because we just came out. We have it's called the Weber Connect. It's a hub. It's a device, like an assistive device for cooking, which takes away that, hey, I want to see it, because you have your device with your probe in your meats. that tells you what the temperature, the internal temperature of that meat is. But we've also worked into it some, we call it ETA technology, where it'll tell you when to flip your steak and it'll tell you when to take it off. For those folks that like that stuff, or that are looking to learn a little bit more about grilling, that aren't so sure about it, is we've put this assistive type technology into this to help those people. So yeah, you don't want to have to lift that lid up, because you don't have to, because you know where your food's at along the process.
Okay.
I bet you that helps a lot. I think that would help a lot of people with consistency, and maybe Dustin would probably get mad if I would say this, but maybe take some of the guesswork out of it. Dustin probably doesn't have guesswork, but I do.
You know what? I have a lot of guesswork, because our team we were part of that process of, it's really, honestly, it's our team's knowledge and call it successes that we're able to put into that device. We helped collect the data for that. You know, what's the good temperature to cook the food at, and then when you build that curve, well, what does that look like to have everybody be able to get the doneness that they want on it? So believe me, I'm not offended by it at all. That's like having a grill master standing next to you, helping you out along the way.
And I see on your background there, I see watermelon in big letters. Can you grill watermelon?
You can. And you know what? It's perfect for a high heat cook, 550 degrees. You can either leave it on the rind and cut it in wedges, grill it, take it off. You can cut that rind off of it. You can put it on skewers. Same thing, 550 degrees. And what you're looking to do is just really kiss it with some high heat. And it takes those sugars from the watermelon, browns it a little bit, and adds an extra layer of flavor. Like watermelon, bananas, cantaloupe. I mean, they're all incredible fruits to grill.
I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah, I would love to try that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And so on Weber.com, are there a lot of recipes and tips that people can access just by going to that website?
There is. And Weber.com kind of runs the gamut of everything from your maintenance type of the grill to cleaning for that seasonal look, for the daily recipes. We run the gamut of simplistic recipes of steaks and chicken and that kind of stuff, all the way up to some really intricate type dishes with sauces and marinades and all that different type of stuff. But everything from chicken to lamb to beef to fish to vegetables to, you know, really just about anything that you'd want to be able to put on your grill, we have there for people to take a look at.
I got one more question for you, Dustin. And since you're a pro, I'll probably never have this opportunity again. In Philadelphia, all of my buddies used to say, when grilling a steak, you want to turn the heat on high and you sear both sides before you start anything. And that sealed the flavor in. Is this a true or false statement?
False.
Really? I knew it. I knew it was false. I'm telling you, everybody used to tell me that in Philadelphia.
You know what? It's like anything else. And we talk about evolution of cooking and the way that people used to cook, and there's theories that are out there. Well, now we have science to back it up, and we have different theories that we go by. And people still do that. It's called a sear and slide. They're going to put their steak on, they cook it, they get that nice mark on it, then they slide it, whether it be indirect or to lower temperatures. You know, and then we have the opposite end of the spectrum where you'll do the reverse sear, and you'll cook it at a lower temperature, take it off your grill, crank it up to a higher heat, and then sear it at the end on the backside. Yeah, they're two theories, and you're not really sealing it in. I mean, it's pretty much water that's in the steak anyway, so.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense now that you explain it that way, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome.
So on this Weber Connect, does it connect to a smartphone, or how does that Connect part work?
So the Connect is the name of the device itself, and you can connect to your smartphone, whether via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And then that gives you access to so many different, you know, opportunities. If we're talking about the traveler, you know, there's cook programs in there to run for like chicken breast, for pork chops, for steaks. We're working on putting some vegetable programs and some different attributes of that type of stuff in there. When you look at it, if you're connected to like our smart line of gas grills, there's a tank scale that's in there. You know, we can tell you how much gas is left in your tank. If you're connected to your smoke fire, which is your pellet grill, you know, you can change the temperature of your smoke fire through the device. What it does ultimately is it's a grilling assistance. You know, if you're looking from beginning grillers to help them get comfortable grilling. For the intermediate users, it has temperatures, you know, in there. For doneness temperatures, it has timers. The hub itself, I got a box right here. You can kind of see it. It's this black device. Well, the temperature probe connects into that. You run that into your meat. And that's how we're able to tell for that estimated time of doneness of how long you get there, is you put that probe into the thickest part of your meat. And then it gives you all these readings, you know, the notifications that you can get on your smartphone of when to flip it, the notification of when to take it off the grill. And, all of that stuff that's built into our app, we have this incredible, beautiful media, with steps of prep, oil your steak and season it. Well, there's somebody in there showing you how to oil it. Somebody's seasoning it when you put it on the grill. There's a little video showing a person putting it on the grill. And, but believe it or not, there's a right way and a wrong way to cut steak. And we put it at the end of, when you're slicing your steak to show people the proper way to slice it, against the grain. You don't want to cut it with the grain. It gets stringy. So all of these put into different thoughts along the way with that connect of, trying to get people from point A to point B with, just having an incredible, great meal.
So that black device that you showed, that like mounts somewhere on the grill or next to the grill?
For the traveler, you can put it right on the table. It does have a magnet built into the bottom of it that wherever you're going to connect that to. But yeah, it's got a long enough cord that it connects. There's no reach issues with it. It's perfect.
Okay. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Who would have thought you would have smart grills?
Yeah.
Well, we're just,
So then this is something that can be used, like, it's almost like, I guess the word would be backward compatible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I bought my Weber Spirit 2 already, not even knowing about that you guys have this. This is something I can still use with my grill though.
Correct. And the hub is great for, like you said, backwards compatible for the Spirit 2 if you want to use it on a charcoal grill, with longevity of how long, we have folks that'll use it on summits or gas grills that are, a little bit older as well. And it's the same thing. It'll predictive, estimated time of delivery, at least for your food.
And is that available at the same retailers like Ace Hardware, the big box stores, all that kind of stuff?
Yep, definitely Weber.com as well.
You know what I'm learning, Sean, is that I'm almost starting to feel bad for Sabrina because I have no idea what I'm doing when I'm grilling, apparently. I didn't know that there was a way that you were supposed to cut the steak.
But when you guys spend as much time as we do grilling, you know what? Anything we can share with people to help them, enjoy their food better, whether it's a recipe or seasoning or, how to set up your grill. Let's just say we have great ways that we like to grill. Everybody has ways they like to grill. There is no right or wrong as long as people are grilling and they're enjoying themselves and getting together with family. Yeah,
that's awesome. I can't wait to try to start grilling some fruit. I never even thought about grilling watermelon or different fruits. That's awesome. That's going to be, I think, my new favorite thing to do, actually.
Yeah.
But I think that is all of our questions for you today, Dustin, unless there was something that maybe we might have missed or that you would like to add.
I think the only thing I have to add is, we have some awesome, exciting products coming out in 2022. And, we're really excited to see people's excitement that we have as well. And, more to come. And we're always evolving and putting out some really cool stuff.
Very cool. Well, we want to thank you for your time. And we really appreciate you coming out here and teaching us not only about grills, but how we should be improving our cooking as well. So we do appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. It was great talking with both of you.
Weber really is an icon in the outdoor grill industry, and we are grateful for Dustin coming on the show. The Traveler seems like a good option for those that want a grill to take on the road. But if that option doesn't work for you, there are several other Webers to select from. Also, I checked out the recipes on their website, and I have several to try. Check out their website at Weber.com. As always, a big thanks to Battleborn Batteries and TempStick for their support of the podcast. If you are in need of either of these products, make sure to let them know you heard about them on the Beyond the Wheel podcast. Thanks everyone, and we will talk to you in 2 weeks. Safe travels.
This episode is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, the best name in the RV and marine industry. These lithium batteries are designed and assembled in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. The best solution for your battery anxiety. So go check them out at battlebornbatteries.com. Hey everyone, Kenny here. Do you travel with pets and are looking for a way to monitor and be alerted of temperature spikes in your RV while away? I've been using a TempStick in our RV for over 3 years, and I love the simplicity of being able to connect to any of our hotspots, as well as not having the hassle of any subscription or service fees. If you are looking for a reliable way to protect your pets while away, check out TempStick at tempstick.com.